What's up, fam? Welcome back to the Hawk's Nest. And I'm sitting here with my buddy Richie. We've been having a conversation about the FAA. If you tell by his face, he's a little worried about where they're going to put the remote ID when they come after him, because he's in the sky too. Whatever. But all that BS aside, and fuck the FAA and everything else, I have a little build video, and this is the first part. Today we're going to put together a Source 1 frame and probably put a little board layout and talk about what parts that's going to go on the frame. And also, I started a Patreon, and right away I had a few people jump right in, which really surprised me, and I'd just like to give a short shout out to them. Thank you, Josh, Vinny, and Bot Grinder for joining my Patreon, and it really helps motivate me to keep making this shit. Here we go. Let's start this shit. Alright, here we go. This is the Source 1. If you don't know about it, it's from Team Black Sheep. You can get it most places for just under $30. Which is a great deal. And don't be like, oh, most frames are like $100. Why is this one only $30? Blah blah blah. Well, this frame is developed with more of like a open source initiative, where people's input were put in for design, and this is what it came up with. Kind of like the CL1 with Rotor Riot. All the money that would normally go into development was done open source, which makes the chain of the frame much cheaper for you. And it's still all made with high quality carbon and all that jazz. I have currently have two Source 1 builds, and well, I did. They're more shelf queens now. I've moved on to the $100 frames because I trust my flying much more than I used to. But when you first start flying, you're going to be crashing. You're going to be probably putting props on wrong, sending your quad off to wherever, and you're not going to want to have to replace the parts that are on the $90 frames to begin with. And to be honest, this frame flies just as good as all those $100 frames, even though I am now really partial to BQE. I do like to fly lots of parking lots and concrete, and BQE, everything's just a little bit thicker to take those kind of crashes. But as a beginner, I think people should stick with the parks and the fields to begin with anyway. Nice thing about this is if you do start flying stuff like concrete, you can buy, I believe it's two of these arms for $5. You can buy the whole frame again for $27, and you'll have 4 arms and all that, and all this. You know, it's really hard to not justify it. And I am, to be honest, slightly of a Team Black Sheep fanboy. I do fly with the Crossfire. I fly with the Unify. The only thing I'm not really bought into is the Fusion yet. But when they come out with their new hardware update, I am very interested, because they do have their new Wi-Fi functionality, which syncs all your functions together. You change your channel on any of your TBS devices, and they all change together. It's pretty cool. And they're also trying to future-proof for bullshit remote IDs, but if Team Black Sheep can seamlessly implement such a system, we really won't be too far from what we're doing now. I don't like the idea of remote ID, but I do agree flying with remote ID instead of not flying at all is best. And who says sometimes I won't fly with remote ID turned on? You know, maybe sometimes I'll just comply and sometimes I won't. Compromise, you know? She can go both ways, I guess. So, I give you a nice little rubber stand up, battery pad that goes on this piece, stand up. And if you haven't noticed, this frame is a sort of a alien clone, if you want to call it, or a Martian. Well, Martian's a clone of an alien, so. But, you know, your high deck with your K-plate style camera mount. So this lines up down here. And this whole build, well, not the whole build, but as much as I can is going to be Team Black Sheep. We're even going to go with these 2306, 2400 kV Team Black Sheep motors. You get them $15 a pop, which is dirt cheap. They're really strong. They got nice thick windings, so you can handle 5S really easily. You don't have to worry about burning them out. We're going to be using the Unify, like I said. We're going to be using Crossfire. And for the ESC and flight controller, I went with the Bardwell stack. Yeah, I know, for the price you can get a better combination or whatnot, but one thing I like about the Joshua Bardwell stack is, for a beginner, you have his manual, handwritten PDF. It's literally got everything you need to know about programming it and soldering up your first flight controller. So if you have any wonders on what pad goes where, what can be reassigned, how to do a soft serial setup, or anything like that, it's in the PDF. So like you get a lot more than just this with it, and pretty soon he's going to be coming out with his F7 variation. It's good. Whatever. I've built my father a quad with this setup. I have a quad with this setup. Just be careful with the 5-volt regulator. Don't put too many devices on it. It can be a little finicky for the Bardwell stack, but alright, so one thing to remember when you're putting together this sandwich style bottom plate is these are press nuts. These press nuts do not work if they're this way. Because when you put the sandwich plate on and you feed your bolts up through, as the tension gets on these, they pull out and they're useless. You make sure your press nuts, the flange side, is up and out. If your flange side is not up and out, it's going to fall apart. And I haven't done it, but I've seen people do it and wonder why this shit just falls apart. So what I like to do is I always start with the bottom, and I always start with the arms. Alright? And one unfortunate part about this frame is the 30x30 is fed through the arm, and it's not slotted. So you do have to take whatever bolt you used in here all the way out to fix your stack, blah blah blah, whatever, big deal. But you know, some people want the easiest of everything, but you can't have it all. Alright, so with this style arm, it doesn't matter. It has an open hole for the center. If you're using like the BQE, the new ones for strength, these are just the recessed holes, so those ones you'd have to make sure they face up. These ones are all the way through. So just line these two up, line that up. And most of the screws are the same size for this build, which is pretty easy. So you're going to take this size screw. If you wonder which one it is, you hold up to the side. You know which one goes all the way through. So this side is going to be the all the way, the furthest from the center out hole. The next one here is going to be your longest screw, because this screw is going to be the start of your flight controller stack. Alright, you don't want to fully tighten this together until you start getting stuff together, because look, I wasn't paying attention. You get that? Just going to be leave everything kind of loose until you get everything into place, and then you can button it down after. So this is the longer screw. It's going to go through enough for you to use a like a nylon standoff or whatever. Sorry, hitting the camera on you guys. This will be long enough to use nylon or metal standoff here to start your stack. Just feed each one of these arms in. And then I'm going to use a little bit of YouTube magic to fast forward through the rest of the arms. And I'll show you. Alright, magically, we are back and we are putting on the last screw in the flight controller section. There you go. So see here, 30 by 30 layout, raised screws for our nylon standoffs. These will sit flush. Make sure you put them in nice and tight after you get it all together, so these press nuts sit really well. Up here where these two slots are, this is the front where your K plates for the camera are going to go. And I'll show you after we do some layout stuff where the standoffs go. I'm not going to deal with them right this second. And I'm going to show you how the top plate goes on after. But we're going to do a little layout planning before our next video here. So here I got is your basic standoff kit. You get this race day quad. That's my favorite place to get it. I think it's like $3 or $4 or something like that. You get tons of these little standoffs. Different sizes, different heights. Screws. For assembling your flight stack. There we go. So these will go in here like that. You don't want your stack to be touching the carbon. It's going to give you shorts. I like to use the nylon ones. Some people say they break, but as long as you don't over tighten them and keep an eye on them. I've only ever broken a few of them. under like super hard crashes. There's your standoffs. So over here, we're going to open up, let's see, this is the ESC. So on a 4-1 setup, the XT60 will be soldered to the ESC. On an individual ESC setup with the all-in-one, the XT60 gets soldered directly to the flight controller. But you won't have to worry about those pads in this setup for this video. Here we go. This is the ETHiX ESC Race Day Quads partnered. The cool thing about Race Day Quads is if there's anything wrong with this electronically, no questions asked. They just replace that shit. Alright. So let's go in like that. These will face the back. Some people like to orientate it this way. Put it up the side. I tend to do it out the back. I loop it up the side and I zip tie it to this back standoff here. I like to zip tie it there because if your battery gets ejected, it gets tugged on. You don't have to worry about it. Your battery gets pulled. Alright, so we're going to take another set. And those will sit on top of the ESC. Another cool thing about buying this pre-stack is you don't have to worry about pinning this out. This is already pinned out for his setup. For beginners, this really helps you no-brainer build. Gets half the troubles out of the way right away. Gets you in the air. And the second time you build, you can get a little more custom. Take your time because you already have something to keep you in the air. You don't really have to fuss about how long it's going to take you to go through the diagrams and do whatever. So these are the gummies. They're going to go in the flight controller. I'm not going to take the time in this video to show you to stuff them in there. We're just going to pop them on here. This up here. Even this has gummies, but I'm not doing the gummies today. When we focus on these boards, I'll show how the gummies go in. So there'll be a little arrow on the flight controller. That goes in towards the front. It takes, depending on how tight the gummies are, a lot of my setups, the gummies are pretty tight, so I don't have to worry about nylon nuts, but just for this video's sake, I'm going to throw 2 nylon nuts on here so you kind of see what you're looking at. Alright, so here we go. This is going to be the barbell stack on the source one. Look at that, that's a pretty sexy stack right there. And then we got this TBS motor. We're throwing on here. TBS motor, I believe. So you want to be careful when doing screws on motors. If the screws are too long, they're going to touch windings, it's going to short out, and you're going to have a bad day. If they're too short, there's not going to be enough threads in there, you're going to crash too hard, and you're going to have a bad day. So all I do is, I put the screw that came with the motor through, I put it through there, I hold it up, and that is just about all the way to the very top of the metal. Not sure if the camera is picking that up or not, but these are just about perfect. It doesn't really look like it when you don't hold anything up next to it, but if you put the motor down, you will see that it will travel most of the way through this motor. So we can use the stock screws that came with these Team Black Sheep motors. Sometimes we have to play this little game of get your own motor screws, because most of the time the frame company isn't. Sorry, battery died. Not sure what type of hiccup I got there. Alright. So This is probably going to be hard to do on camera. Basically, you just put the damn screws in the... This is one of the easier parts. I'm pulling away for a second. You're going to have to deal with not staring at me screwing that in. Alright, once you get the first one, it's kind of a lot easier. You slide it over a tiny bit, line up the holes. Get that in there. And even now, you're still not going to want to crank anything all the way together. We're going to be taking shit apart, putting shit back together, taking shit apart, and putting it back together. But I just want you guys to get a representation of what this quad will look like. Alright, so there's that. I'm going to use a little YouTube magic, and I'm going to have all 4 motors on and the standoffs on, and then I'm going to show you to put the top plate on. We're going to call it good for this video. In the next video, I'm going to give you soldering tips. We're going to solder the motors to the ESCs and the XT60 to here, hook it to the flight controller, and we'll see what else. But so far, this is going pretty cool. I hope you guys like it. YouTube magic. Whoa, that was cool. If I can wish magic worked other places. Alright, so here are the K plates. The long channels will go towards the back. The channels are used for adjusting the degree tilt of your camera. So these pop right in there. Top plate. So top has 2 notches, bottom has 1 notch. That's a good way to tell if your shit's upside down. That will go on like that. The rest of these screws will go on this top plate. I'm not going to put it on now because I still need to take it apart for us to work on it on the next video. This is basically what it's going to look like. Black, sexy, sleek, Team Black Cheap quad. And the whole purpose of this quad is it's affordable, it's bashful, everything's strong, it's all going to take a beating. You're not going to really have to worry, and if it does break, it's cheap. And you're not really sacrificing a lot. I've flown all of this stuff. I'll tell you, it flies like the premium stuff. You're not missing a whole lot. And I appreciate you guys making it this far in the video. And if you like my shit, comment, like, dislike, subscribe. Please hit that subscribe. We're almost to 300 subscribers. And if I can get to 300 subscribers by this time next month, just from this video, I will pick somebody out of the comments of this video and I will send them a TBS Source 1 frame if we can pull that off. I only need like 13 more. Just make another account, subscribe, we'll put it up over 300. Thanks, fam, and peace out.